Hello to our OAS listeners. Just before we hop into this episode, I did want to give you a little announcement really quickly. I wanted to let you know that OAS is going to be moving to bi-weekly episodes. I want you to look at this as definitely a good thing because the goal here is that one, with them being bi-weekly, there's a little bit more time for us to really give you thoroughly rehearsed, thoroughly researched episodes, and then hopefully give you just a better episode altogether. The second reason is because OAS is going to be working on more varied content as far as video content on YouTube, on our TikTok, our Instagram, everything like that. We're going to be giving you things that are in line with the podcast. So they're still anime related. They're still about some of the things that we talk about, but they are going to be more like short form content, more, just varied types of content. So then the idea is actually you kind of see us a little bit more because we are going to make a big push on social media and so forth. So I just wanted to give you that quick update that you can look for us bi-weekly. So every other week, you're going to get a new OAS episode that hopefully is better than the next and so on and so forth. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And thank you so much for being a valued OAS listener. Welcome back to our anime show. I am a Green Queen.
And I'm Binge Monster.
Welcome on in, folks. Oh, wow. What a season it has already begun to begin, and it is. We're gonna
What a season it's already begun to begin. What it is and what it is what it's started. That's what it is.
We're going to be talking about the summer season of anime and some stuff that we're watching, some stuff that's coming out. What are the sleepers? How are things stacking up, against each other? And what is the community generally thinking about this season? So, you can make sure that you are watching things that you might want to be watching and that people would recommend, and things that we might recommend. It's going to be crazy for the next time.
I'd like to start with what you recommend, and then I'll tell you what I recommend.
Absolutely. I recommend some anime that I am watching this season that I would recommend to you all. Let's see. I really, really like Pseudo Harem so far. And I really, really like the Elusive Samurai. Don't shake your head at me. Don't. I
just gotta know. I have not watched the show. I don't know anything about the synopsis of the show, which is maybe a little embarrassing to say, but I'm a little bit surprised. But Pseudo Harem is the first one that you mentioned.
Okay. If I were to stack them as my number one favorite, I would say Elusive Samurai is my number one favorite right now.
Okay.
My second favorite though is Pseudo Harem. So it was not on my radar, but one of my dear friends, Roundy, who's like a part of my community and so forth, they are a very big reader. So he reads tons of manga, tons of light novels, like runs a light novel Discord, like is very much so like they often know what's coming up before it's even out. And they're like a big romance person, so they were like, yo, this is coming out, I'm ready to brain rot, like I love this, I'm so excited, I'm so pumped this is finally coming out. And I don't like necessarily everything that they like I wouldn't say we have like similar tastes necessarily, but like they have had some really good opinions that I have agreed with. So I was like, at least I'm gonna give this a shot. Roundy's super excited for this, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. And I like it because I need a palate cleanse this season. I didn't have one really last season, and I'm still even, I still haven't watched Demon Slayer, so just last season was tough for me. I know. But anyway, Pseudo Harem, it's really, really cute. So it takes place in high school, and it's about, I don't know their names, but there's a young girl and there's a little bit of an older kid. They're both kids, but he's like a year older than her or something like that. There's definitely like a little bit of that because she's always like calling him senpai and so forth. which sounds like it's wrong, right? We've seen this go so wrong so many times, like, younger girl, older kid, whatever.
Mm.
But they're only a year apart. They're both in the acting or the drama club.
Oh,
They're both in the
okay.
drama club. Yes, it's so sweet. So it starts out, and she's like, "I would like to audition to be a part of the drama club." Like they might be doing Romeo and Juliet or something like that. And she auditions, and she's like phenomenal, and like not shy about it. Like it's not like she's like, "Oh, I don't want, like, oh, I can't act in front of anyone." Like very much not like that. She's super bold. So is the little boy character, or the male character, and they just click. Like they just like form a bond, form a friendship, and they just like have a lot of fun together. It's super lighthearted. There's nothing really too serious, but the gimmick that I came to kind of my own realization, and I came to this realization in the second episode. So by the second episode, I was finally still kind of figuring out what was going on here, but
Mm-hmm.
she will play different parts. Like I think one of them is like, "Oh, well now I'm being like spoiled something." And she'll like say lines to him, but it's not like he's eating it up every time. It's like sometimes she'll do it and he'll be like, "Ah, shut up." Like, like they're playing. Like it's like that, but I think it's pseudo harem because she will drop into character of all these different kinds of characters just like at the drop of a hat in regular conversation, and it's kind of like him balancing that, her balancing that, but it's like a romance. You can kind of see some seedlings of like, are they like, do they like each other? Do they want to like hold hands? Do they like, who's going to confess first? Like, are they going to know because everyone's kind of acting? Like, it's so cute. I love it. I've laughed out loud already. And I'm also as shocked as you are.
That sounds like a very a Green Queen palette cleanser.
It's so fun. It's so lighthearted. It's so silly. I really love them. Yeah,
Mm.
it's the palette cleanser that I definitely needed this season, and I hope more people give it a chance because the name itself is a little bit like,
Questionable.
eh,
Yeah.
you know. And maybe it will get questionable. I don't know, but right now it's super lighthearted and innocent, and it's not a harem, which is
Mm.
delightful, to be honest. Before we talk about my second or my first pick, I almost want to see if this is also in your top two,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah. I didn't even know about it. I don't know. Like I guess like work's been crazy, so I didn't have a real chance to really investigate what shows might pique my interest for the summer season, which is very atypical. I usually am, you know, pretty ahead of what I want to watch, but I think a part of the equation here is just that there weren't a lot of titles that really excited me off the bat. I felt as though this summer was going to be one of the slower seasons, and um, maybe that could present an opportunity to watch other shows that I've not had a chance to catch up on from previous seasons, and was thinking about that. But I was on TikTok maybe last week and saw a couple of clips from Elusive Samurai, and was pleasantly surprised with what I had seen. I thought the animation was super fluid. It looked like a really cool concept, and decided to give it a chance and watch the first episode and was really excited about it. It is a complete, just absolutely complete surprise and kind of shock. Just because, again, like I wasn't expecting anything in the realm of what this show is about for the summer season. So it's been really exciting. I don't know what were your first thoughts watching the first two episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I was totally enthralled almost immediately. Do we know what time period of Japan this takes place in? Is this the Edo period?
Probably.
Probably, right?
I don't
Like
think it
it.
explicitly said.
I
Yeah.
have to look it up and kind of do a little research and see, but like everything about it is such a formula to like win me over. Like, a little kid goes from being like I don't know. It's just like it's Edo period. It's samurai. Like I buy into that. I love it. Like whether the reality of samurai is as depicted in nonfiction things as whatever, but I loved it, and I was delightfully surprised every single moment because it does so many things that I find are very surprising. Like, to your point, the animation is very fluid, but at the same time, it feels kind of classic in a
Yeah,
really, really nice way. And I
agreed.
was like, what is it about it? Is it the coloring? Like, is it the shape of some of the shading or the eyes, like the way they're drawing it? I don't know, but it feels like this really, really nostalgic, but also super, super modern animation style to
Yes.
me. And then of course, I mean, it's a shonen, and we're following the cutest little boy, oh, who is so, has the world ahead of him, and you can totally tell that reality is gonna hit him like a ton of bricks in a
Right.
interesting way, and the way that he's already you didn't get to episode 2 yet. I'm not
No,
going to
no,
spoil
I'm caught up.
anything.
I'm caught up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, amazing. But like, right, so like the way that he's sort of tackling the things that are happening around him, uh with this guidance of someone that I won't really spoil too much, because I really do want our listeners to watch. I think it's a really, really good uh anime. But even the way that they're telling the story, like when they're doing fight combat, this was something that I also kind of picked up on.
Hmm.
It's again kind of classic in the way of like, oh, they're like mid fight having a moment to kind of like give exposition, but it's not something along the lines of, oh, and then they jumped, and because they have this ability they did this, this, and this. It's like really, really character driven.
Hmm.
And when we're looking at this main character, the side characters that normally in other anime that I've seen would be just truly narrating what the main character or the what's happening in the fight, they're giving like interesting insight into his character
Hmm.
and the transformation happening internally, which I thought was really cool. And of course we've seen that done before, but like again, this is so pocketed in my mind of like, wow, this is kind of vintage,
Hmm.
but really, really not, because it's giving us so much more than I feel like vintage 90s anime at the time in the first episode were doing.
Sure.
What do you think?
I see that. I really, I know what you're getting at. There's um, some stylistic choices that the animators and the director are taking that very much feel like a classic anime. Particularly when they're either right about to fight or when they're walking kind of like just down the street or when they're just talking to each other. The way that they animate emotions is interesting too, and it has like some depth to it. There's something about the lines and the way they use lines in this show. I don't know if that makes sense. um,
Yes.
that feel like very, I don't know, like hand drawn or like you said, kind of just like classic, but it's definitely the colors, the use of colors, the importance of colors, the distinction of colors in their eyes, especially, is
Yes.
really interesting. And the clothes that they wear and how that seems to correlate to positions of power or societal structures. You have those very like not dull, but certainly not bright colors that the everyday citizens wear, and then the samurai have it a little elevated in the I was going to say
Like
the
the
monarchy,
royals.
but the royals, exactly. The key players in the royals tend to have really like beautiful, bright colors, whether it's like that, that blue or the red. Like, yeah, it just, and not just like the standard crimson red. Like there's a really beautiful palette. I know I'm talking a lot about colors, but the choices that they're making feel very modern. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes it brings a lot of depth to characters that up to this point in a show, even 2 episodes in, maybe they don't necessarily have, which is a choice. Like it's a cool choice, and it's not one that, I don't know, doesn't feel grounded. It still feels pretty grounded. Um,
Mhm.
I also love, because especially when it comes to a samurai or shonen anime, um, you either see that like offensively they really focus on character development, and or offensively they start from truly nowhere, but the trajectory of their arc as a character is one where they end up becoming really strong offensively.
Mm.
And defense is by far the core focus of this character and the way they approach
Yeah.
things, which is really cool. It's, not to really spoil it, but tag is a clear common theme in this show, which obviously lends itself well to his age and his ability to understand concepts. Like, I think tag is just a good metaphor for a lot of the themes that we're seeing here, and it makes sense when you watch the first 2 episodes. But there's an emphasis on evading, and I'm really excited to see how that that emphasis of evasion extends beyond the way he approaches a fight, and how he
Mhm.
may use that for whatever strategy they end up putting together to set him up for success. I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as I can here, but yeah, I just think it's really interesting. I think it'd be really cool if as this character grows and
Mm.
matures, that remains like the core focus of what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things like that makes some of the shows that get quick success really successful. Like Shield Hero, for example, was
Mm.
a weird a take initially, because as a concept, because it's difficult to understand and envision the potential of someone whose main weapon is a shield, right? Like
I
you
see
think
what.
about going to battle, you don't think the shield hero compared to the katana or the whatever up spear hero is going to be the
Yes.
main form, like the vanguard in the attack, right? Like,
Yes.
and then same with slime, right? Like in the pilot, you see that he's a literal slime ball, and you over time learn how he uses that to his advantage to become the strongest character in the universe. So I like that. I like that because it's different. It's unique. It's a breath of fresh air. He's not going to just be a samurai carving, master who leads the charge by means of offense. So I hope they stick to that theme, and I'm really excited to see how it evolves.
Yeah. I think that's a really great point. I was wondering where you were going with Shield Hero. I was like, how is this going to tie into Shield Hero? But I think you're right. I mean, but the name of the anime totally lends itself to like those core characteristics that you were mentioning of this character. Like they are the elusive samurai, and I think I should have looked up elusive, but like elusive is like to get out of the way to
Yeah,
dodge, like that is like they are the elusive samurai. So I to your point, I can't wait to see how this builds as
for
we
sure.
go. But what was your other anime that you are watching that's in your top?
Yeah.
You
So
didn't even say it, sorry.
no, no, no. I mean, like I said, I'm not watching too many this season. There's one I'll talk about in a bit when we talk about some of the sleepers that we haven't watched that have really good potential that I regrettably have not started, that I imagine may take my number two spot. Right now, my number two spot is still Tower of God, and and like I feel a little I feel a little weird using that as my number two, because there are other shows that I'm watching that I am enjoying, and maybe had stronger first 2 episodes.
Mm.
And again, I think it's important context. I don't know if we said this at the top, but when we talk about these first two, these are not ongoing shows that carried over from the previous season or ongoing shows like One Piece. that never stop. These are just like new. The thing is that like there's a show that's been really interesting that started this season for the first time, which is called oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name of it right now. It's about a human that made his way into like the demon lord's army, right? And
Okay.
it's got a really cool poster, and I actually was so sure that that was going to be like my number two, just because it looked visually like something that I would really enjoy. And again, you can never just take a show from the poster and go. Um, but I mean, I know what's going to happen in Tower of God. I know how like incredible this season is going to be, and it is off to a good start. Don't get me wrong. Um, so but the thing is, the thing is though, is that the other show that I'm talking about, the strongest magician in the demon lord's army, the poster is way cooler than the actual show. It's like the animation is 4 grades lower than what I was expecting it to be, given the poster. Um,
Mm,
and I don't know, like it's just not where I want it to be. So yeah, Tower of God is my number two. Um, even
good
though, like I
answer.
said,
Good answer.
I mean, I just like I don't think people who are watching Tower of God season two at this point in the season are like, this is incredible. It's really just building up,
Mm.
but I know what it's going to be, and so like I have to. So
The anime of the season probably on this pod will be Tower of God.
I hope so. I don't know where they're gonna end it.
Mm.
Um, I don't remember if this is gonna be a 2 course season or a 1 course season. Do you, by chance, know? I actually don't, off the top
I
of my
don't
head.
know, but I would be really surprised if it was not two cores.
I hope so. That would be
It's been
awesome.
so long since season one, and for
Yeah,
things like this, like it only makes it would be. I feel like it would really upset the fan base in a
yeah,
not good way
for
for them
sure.
to only put out like 12 or 16
Yeah,
episodes.
I agree. I hope you're right. I think like when I looked it up on my anime list, there was a question mark next to the total number of episodes. So maybe they haven't announced it. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But I hope you're right.
I hope you're
Um,
right.
what like I know that there's some shows that we want to watch that we haven't started yet. What's one of them that's on your radar?
Definitely one that I haven't started yet is the Suicide Squad one. I know we kind of just synced up on that, but I do want to watch that. And the Isekai Suicide Squad one, that I haven't watched. And there was actually I'm watching the two palette cleansers I wanted to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think truly if you add Suicide Squad in, that really realistically might be all I watch this season. And I I'm also watching the Twilight one. Twilight after did I write it in here? Twilight after midnight, I think that's what it's called. The BL one of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I started that one as well, and it's not um I mean, we'll get into some more things with that where I'll probably give a little bit more details on what I've seen so far, but like I wouldn't call it a sleeper, but like it is the one of the more popular BL of the season. It's not in my top 2, so I mean, realistically it's my third of the season. I like it. But yeah, I'll get into more details probably later. But I'm interested to see what is the top in my anime list. But what's a sleeper that you have?
I mean, I definitely um, just mainly for the reason that it's only on Netflix and it's not on Crunchyroll, and I just haven't had a chance to watch it. It's also Suicide Squad. I've heard some
Mhm.
pretty mixed reviews about it so far, uh, in the sense that like some people are saying it's not great, it's not taking a lot of risks. Apparently, the episode that came out most recently was the best one so far, and it's like really like diving into the story now, and I think it's getting more positive feedback than it was in the first like 1 or 2 episodes. I'm gonna completely ignore that and watch it anyway. But
Yeah.
I think that aside, like Oshinoko, season 2 clearly stands out as something that
Mm-hmm.
I've heard so many positive things about, and I never even like finished season 1. Like I watched 1 or 2 episodes, so I have
Yeah.
no idea what's going on, and that's one of the ones that I'm really hoping to catch up on and see kind of what all the buzz is about. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, in place of Suicide Squad, if I had to answer the question about a sleeper that I haven't
Yeah.
started yet, given that I've heard Suicide Squad, like some mixed reviews, I'd probably say Oshinoko.
Well, Oshinoko did take the anime community by storm when it came
It
out
did,
for season one, so
but it's
that
not.
makes sense.
But like, don't you think for something that had so much buzz at the like height of its popularity at the end of season 1, that it's
Mm-hmm.
been pretty quiet so far for season 2? I mean, don't get me wrong, I've heard good things, but it's not like on Instagram or on TikTok or on YouTube, I just see huge amounts of content being created about it. I don't know, like,
And you know what's so interesting to me? Like I've seen it a couple times on because I follow a lot of content creators and stuff. I've seen it a couple times in like this is what I'm watching the summer season. I have yet to see and maybe it's just my timeline because my timeline is a lot of plants and housekeeping and stuff like that because I'm lame and Genshin Impact and K-pop. But like I'm wondering if I'll start to see more of it now that it's coming out. Like even everything like I knew nothing about Elusive Samurai. Like I've heard a lot about the Suicide Squad isekai. I think that that's
mm-hmm.
being watched under like a microscope, to be honest,
Yeah,
especially from like an American Western eye.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I would agree. Yeah, I haven't seen a uproaring of content creation around this season so far, which is quite interesting to me.
for
That's
sure.
a surprise.
In a season where there are not a tremendous amount of marquee names, I would just expect it to have a bigger splash. It is all. I'm not seeing that.
Yeah.
Um, well, I thought one thing that would be cool that we talk about is given this kind of, I was going to say this elusive season when I wasn't trying to make a joke there, but this season that seems to be on the quieter side of a significant number of marquee names creating large amounts of buzz. I thought it'd be cool to report even this early on the top 5 rated shows that are airing right now in the season, and I think some of the answers might surprise you.
Okay.
I want you to guess what you think number 1 is when we get there. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Uh, but do you
I
have?
already have a
Let's
guess.
go
Go
in
ahead.
order from 5 to 1. But if you
Yes.
had to guess number 5, what do you think it would be?
And Tower of God is out already.
Tower of God is out.
Tower of God season 2, there are episodes out. Number
There are episodes.
5, I would guess that number 5 is. I bet there's gonna be ones that because like I'm not watching Slime. I'm gonna guess number 5 is the Twilight one, the BL
Okay.
Twilight one.
So I think that this will be really interesting. I have the luxury of having all of the shows lined up here, and I have the names right in front of me. Um, and as we go down the numbers, I want to see if you end up guessing one of them. I actually think it's going to be really
Any.
tough. I would struggle to guess any of these. The data is pretty surprising, quite frankly. So number
Oh.
5 is actually the show that you were pretty clear that you did not want to watch, which is the
Oh.
um, Wisteria Wand and Sword. Oh wait, this isn't the
Wisteria.
one. This isn't the one that you were worried
No.
about. I was thinking
No,
of
there was
the
the
incest one.
stepsister
Yes, yes.
one.
I thought
Yeah.
that's what this was. It's not. It's not what that one is. But anyways, the Wisteria Wand and Sword is ranked number 5 right now, which is
Okay.
about a, a character who goes by the name of Will, dreaming of keeping his promise to a childhood friend by becoming Magia Vander one of the mighty magicians who sit atop the wizard's tower. Seems a little Black Clovery in nature to me, but it takes place in a magical academy, so I guess there are obviously some differences.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
but
Hmm.
yeah, that's number 5 right now. Yeah, number 4 is a show called Make Ine, Too Many Losing Heroines.
Makaina, too many losing heroines?
Yes. A show that was not on my radar whatsoever. Um,
No.
in full transparency, even in hearing that this is number 4, it's probably not a show that I will necessarily pick up, although A1 Pictures is doing it, and they tend to do, pretty good work, actually.
Hmm.
Um, and this one is about a self-proclaimed background character who accidentally witnessed his popular classmate Anna being rejected by her childhood friend. Um, and yeah, I think that like it's just you know that there are like several people who get involved with this boy character are feeling bad. I'm not really sure, but yeah,
Yeah.
I imagine that this is kind of like a comedy, but it's definitely like a middle school, high school aged comedy
I
romance.
am I am already starting to be like, are the users of my anime list trolling this and just putting things here that don't belong here?
Maybe, maybe. Uh, Number 3 may support that theory in the sense that again, it's a title that I would not have expected necessarily. Although it's interesting, and I'll explain why in a moment.
Hmm.
Number 3 is Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Again, not at all on my
Interesting.
list.
Huh.
It's about a character who's half Russian, half Japanese, who's considered like the idol of her school, and she has clearly different hair color than the rest of the students in her school, and different, like a fairer skin, and
Yeah.
even with all of those things having been said, people feel like she's really unapproachable. They're really like hyper nervous around her, but there are some people who are not, who spend a lot of times with her, and I guess this is like, you know they're an odd pair, and maybe they're gonna fall in love. I'm not really sure, but it's
Maybe.
ranked an 8.17. Like it's I mean, just for context, Elusive Samurai is number 6 at a score of 8.02, and this is an 8.17. So, uh, a little bit surprising, but yeah, I don't know. But you know what's weird about this? For whatever reason, I see this so often in anime. This must be a stereotype in Japan, maybe given the literal geographical proximity to Russia. But when I
Oh.
see white characters in anime,
Hmm.
more often than not, they are Russian, especially women.
Huh.
I literally don't know why. It's like Russian, German, American in that order.
I'm trying to think. A silent voice? Is that the anime? That's the Did you watch that one? A
That was a
silent
film.
voice?
That was the
Oh
film that we
shoot, no,
watched.
then it's not a silent voice. I'm thinking of the one that came out like 2 seasons ago with the girl who they sign to each other. A sign of affection. I'm thinking of a sign of affection.
Okay.
I think one of those main characters was Russian as well. Or
I don't know.
German. I can't remember. That's so
See?
interesting though.
But
Yeah.
it's you like there is something about the way that this is my hypothesis. There's something
Mhm.
about the way that Japanese people observe the standard of beauty with like when it comes to Russian women. I don't know why, but like
Huh.
blonde haired, blue eyed in America, you'd think, I don't know, like if you're not thinking American, you're thinking German, right? But like
Yeah.
there's so many Russians, and I don't know why. It's so interesting. It's an observation.
Pop off Japan.
What were you gonna say?
What was I gonna say? I Elusive Samurai, like, I love it, but it gives me the same kind of it has elements of being very dark is what I'm saying. Like the story
Absolutely.
is not a good story, but it's told in a way that feels like very digestible, but
Yeah.
like at its root, it is
Start.
uh it's dark. And I'm like, I can see if this gets a similar vibe as like Hell's Paradise,
Okay.
which was Hell's Paradise was dark. Like there that was
Yeah.
not but and
Phenomenal.
so they're different. Like I will say that they are different, but like I
Sure.
could see somebody watching Elusive Samurai and thinking it's very dark, which it kind of is. And it not getting as much praise as it should, as I believe it should, in the same way that Hell's Paradise did not get enough praise, in my opinion, as it should have. I'm seeing history repeat itself before my eyes, and I'm already angry, and I'm gonna sit here under my blanket and accept this list that I have now decided is only bullshit.
Like, you don't have to convince me. I'm on your side when it comes to this. I'm. It's only a couple weeks into the season, right? So this could
Yeah,
change, and
yeah.
it'd be interesting to see how the results sway, especially as we get towards the end or even afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It very well could just be that as so far, it's obviously been a romance comedy dominated a list
Yeah,
that just that community tends to be more active in rating shows as they go than
yeah,
folks who are watching Elusive Samurai, some of the other shows.
yeah.
That being said, number two is a shonen, and quite frankly, bothers me for several reasons. But
Oh
number
no.
two is the fairy tale 100 nen quest, 100 years quest, which like I really I just don't even know what this is about. I refuse to watch it off of principle. They're milking that franchise for like truly everything that it has, and I've already talked at great length about my problems with Hiromashima, who's the author, and like literally creating another series with the exact same character designs with just swapping the names. Like literally the exact same character designs with a small tweak of maybe the change of a hair color and changing the same names, now creating another something for fairy tale. But that is number two, and you know, it is what it is. It's got an 8.18. Congratulations. I don't know.
I feel like I've heard a lot of people defend Fairy Tale and go, Fairy Tale's not that bad. Fairy Tale's good. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Interesting take.
I think that as my Uncle Iroh of anime, I probably take on a bit of your resentments. And I have no interest. If Fairy Tale is at the most bottom, I would watch One Piece before I picked up Fairy Tale, and I can't tell you why.
I think if anybody told you to watch Fairy Tale over One Piece and you were in a position to actually invest time in watching One Piece, I actually don't know what I would say to that person. I don't even know what to say. I not because I'd like to believe that everyone deserves to have a voice, and everyone has their
Just
preferences.
say you would kick them. Just say you would kick them.
But it's and there's no wrong take. But like this is just that, yeah, that would honestly bother
But
me
that's
a
a
lot.
wrong take. It's okay. It's okay.
It's
We run
a
a podcast. This is an opinion driven podcast, people.
I've never heard anyone say that, and I just don't know how I would handle it if I did. So we're gonna move on. I'm not even gonna address number two. I do,
Sure.
however, want you to guess number one because I think you've seen some of the names already for the season, and the only hint I'll give you is that it's at least
Oh,
something that you know about. But I'll
it's
give you two
slime.
guesses. No, although that would be cool. It's not slime.
It's not slime. Oh shoot, I'm not watching it though.
I'm not going to tell you.
Clearly.
One more
It's not
guess.
Tower of God.
It's not Tower of God.
What even is else is coming out?
Okay, one more guess.
Oh. Oh no. I really don't know. Did we talk about it recently?
We did,
Well,
but it's not Elusive Samurai because I already spoiled that and said that's number six.
of course. I give up.
It's Oshinoko, season two.
Oh, I'm dumb. I forgot that existed.
I wouldn't
Oh
have
yeah,
guessed
okay.
this. Yeah, it's got a 8.36. Yeah, it's the number one rated show so far. So I mean that's a good sign, right? Like
Yeah.
another reason for me to want to potentially pick it up. But yeah,
That makes sense. That's checking out. That makes a lot of sense to me. The first one, the number one being Oshinoko season 2 makes a lot of sense to me. Everything else doesn't quite make sense to me, mostly because I haven't watched these things, but I too share the sentiment, even though I have no grounds to stand on about Fairy
yeah.
Tail, but I'm also angry about it.
I just can't imagine. Like slime has to be better. Tower of God is gonna be better. Well, let's circle back to this at the end of the season and see where this is.
Yeah, I would
I'd
like
be
to do
curious.
that.
Yeah.
But so I was talking a little bit about well, do you want to talk about the sort of controversy that's happened on Crunchyroll? And actually a lot of people might not even know this because I was talking to one of my friends about this, but Crunchyroll basically took off their comment section altogether across the entire platform.
Mm-hmm.
They took off the entire comment section over this show that I'm watching called Twilight After Midnight.
Focus. Find out of focus.
Oh, Twilight Out of Focus? Oh gosh, wow. I said it wrong before then. I said
Mm-hmm.
it wrong before too. I'm so sorry everybody. Twilight Out of Focus. Um yeah, what is your take on this binge monster?
I have several thoughts of it. I mean, it's really unfortunate. I mean, fundamentally, Crunchyroll had to make a statement saying, "Look, we're trying to prioritize and creating a safe space and a respectful community." I think initially this came after Twilight Out of Focus was released. I'm guessing there were several people who watched it who were unaware that it was a boy love show. They in pretty significant numbers began to review bomb it, and then in the
Yeah.
comment section had a lot to say. I mean, it was yeah. I mean, it's really unfortunate. Just a tremendous amount of homophobic, misogynistic. Um, just
Comments.
prejudice
Yeah.
comments, right? Like, I mean, unfortunate things to see, especially because I mean, there's truly one of the greatest things about anime is that there's truly something for everyone, and quite frankly, my take is if you really don't want to watch it, you have every right to just not watch it.
Yep.
I don't know, like there's only no, I can't think of a reason. There's no need to contribute to an environment that is just malicious for the sake of I don't know, like for what I don't know. But apparently it got
Yeah.
so bad they just took it all down, like across all shows, which is
Yeah, they completely tanked it. Like they gave it like terrible ratings. They like absolutely bombed this show, in a sense. And I watched this show. I think I watched into the third episode, but I didn't quite finish it. And I tried to really like watch it with the question in my mind of like why this show? But I think mostly the answer to why this show is just because um it's the BL of the season. Like it's new. I think that there's like kind of a wave, especially like in the US, of like a little pushback on some of these things. Like tensions are very high here for various reasons that we don't necessarily need to get into, but um it's very openly boy love, and the two start out as roommates and so forth. There's one scene in it that made me go, maybe this was why it got so many bad reviews. And they do mention pedophilia.
Oh,
Yeah, they mentioned that in a context that I won't necessarily get into. They're, for whatever reason, but that is one indicator that where I'm like, that's why they might have attacked the show. It's just mentioned, and I was like, maybe that was it. I don't know if you want me to include that in this episode, but like, I think that that was
oh,
probably
I
one of
mean,
the major reasons.
I mean, I think that's important context, right? I think that's important
Yeah.
context. Obviously, I don't know the um, exactly how it was brought up or how it was relevant into the series, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, just being completely transparent, right? It's not as though there aren't inappropriate relationships occasionally with like older and younger characters in heterosexual relationships. Like it's, I mean, this is a big, uh, um, you know, issue. I think in the
Yeah.
manga and anime space that like really should be addressed more. But I mean, I think that the broader implications of this are unfortunate. From a technology perspective, as somebody who works in tech, I think this is really unfortunate for the user experience in general. I think a lot of people really love being able to go into the comment section, and it's a part of what made Crunchyroll a community and was kind of exciting when you'd finish something and you'd want to race to see what other people had to say. Like, what maybe they saw something you missed, or if they also thought a particular moment was crazy. And there are some really funny people also that will make hysterical comments
Oh,
that, like,
I was just about to say that. I see some of the funniest things in the world, not in the
yeah,
posts that are meant to be funny, but in the comment section of
absolutely.
random people. Yeah.
And I mean, I have to question, why there isn't just a larger effort to, you know, moderate the comment section in some capacity. There are plenty of companies that do this well that,
Hmm.
at some point realize they have a responsibility to do that. And I don't know. I just think this was a maybe, and I hope was a short term solution while they figure out how to do the content moderation. Um,
Right.
and so maybe they'll bring it back. But I think that a lot of people are really frustrated and upset with this. It came really out of nowhere with like no warning. It was just gone.
And
So
a lot of people, a lot of people, I don't know if I actually finished this thought, but a lot of people might not have actually noticed this because I mentioned this to our friend Janelle, and Janelle was like, what? Because she watches it on the Apple TV app,
yeah, it's no comment
where you don't
section.
see some of those things. So some people that might not even watch it on desktop might not have seen that this happened, but for anybody that does watch it on mobile or desktop, like, yeah, it's gone. It's just poof.
That's a really good point. It'll be interesting to see what the backlash looks like in the next several weeks, right? Like, I mean, I definitely have watched stuff on my phone, like when I'm, I don't know, washing the dishes or something. So like,
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely look at the comment section. But yeah, I imagine it'll take another week or so before people start to like really figure this out. So we'll see. There's another thing that we were going to talk about with regards to isekai and trucks. I think this is
Yes.
hysterical. I think this is
Yes.
really, really funny.
In it,
So,
so there was an Oh, I'm
yeah,
so
go
sorry. I
for
was
it.
going to jump
No,
right in.
you
There
go for it.
there was an interview with a manufacturer of like a truck company or what have you, or a Japanese transportation manager as well, and they were all expressing their concern and their issues with trucks getting a bad rap in anime. And they noted things like Sword Art Online, Overlord, Inuyasha, Mushoku Tensei. Like these all are anime where I believe even in the first episode, well, definitely Mushoku Tensei, um, it starts with someone being hit by a car and being transported to another world. And they were like, this is really giving trucks a bad name. Like,
Over the years, the isekai genre of anime has exploded. And
Oh
You know, we
yeah.
went from there being like one or two isekais maybe per year to like 60% of the content that puts out gets put out per season being some form of an isekai where a person gets transported into another world, again, as you said, usually is after someone dies, and it just so happens that the main method of transportation is death via truck, and it became such a big deal that literally the anime community embraced truck-kun as a description for any truck in any series that kills the character and brings them to the other world in any isekai. And they're like, it's a thing. It's just a thing.
Beware
Uh,
Truck-kun.
yeah, it is. It's just a thing. You've heard that before, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard of Truck-kun, or I've seen something like I've seen memes online
Yeah,
where maybe it's like the top half of a pit it is like a nice picture, and then the second half is like Truck-kun.
yeah.
It's just a truck, like it's just a truck.
Somebody did an amazing meme a couple years ago that was like Truck-kun Strikes Back, and it was like Empire Strikes Back, but it was a truck instead of the Death Star
Oh,
or
I
something.
love
I don't
it.
remember, but like there's some incredible Truck-kun memes out there if you're interested in laughing. Just
And I
go on
wish
Reddit.
I wish this article had a little bit more like statistics and information, because it says that it is that anime is having an unexpected negative side effect on their industry.
I'd be
Are
curious
people
too.
like not buying trucks anymore, or like people like are businesses saying no trucks, it's too dangerous,
Yeah,
we gotta just have 10 vans instead of one
I
truck? Like
was just gonna
what is
say that.
happening?
As the band industry booming now, like what is the alternative? What?
Horse and carriage, we're going back to horse and carriage,
I
people.
guess. No, it's true. I we should look into this a little bit more, but I think this is hysterical. I mean, regrettably, it's clearly affecting them enough for them to say something. But
Yeah, to have a whole ass interview about it. I have wait. There's something else. Did you have another something to say about the truck?
no, I was gonna.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this one. Okay, the creators of or Metro designer Kenji Horikoshi, who I guess like created the Beyblade, has a big part in the Beyblade, has kind of jokingly but kind of seriously been like, what if the Beyblades were part of the Olympics?
I am completely for it.
Yeah.
I am so for this. It'll
I'm so
probably
for
never happen, but
it.
you know, I think a year ago or so, we did an interview with folks that I work with in Nepal. And one of the
Mm.
things that they said that blew my mind is that when they were growing up, they made Beyblades from scratch. Do you remember this? Yeah, so I
Yes.
mean, they literally took household items and taped them together or glued them together and figured out a way to make them battle each other. And like it's just like parallel, like and parallel to that, like I had Beyblades. I remember buying the electric Beyblades where you could like press an ignition and it would move and you could almost guide it. Like it
Whoa.
elevated over time. Like in the beginning you just like ripped it and it went where it went, but eventually they had these
Yeah.
electric ones that you could guide and stuff. And yeah,
I
it,
have never seen
oh
those.
yeah, it evolved. And like I don't know what this would look like. In my head, I'm imagining giant human-sized Beyblades clashing, and people just like I don't know. Like every country has to build their own, and I don't know how
Well,
this would work, but I am
I
so for it.
I think they are, because the argument, and I wish I could have like been there when they were saying these things, because I bet the argument was like, "Huh, yeah, imagine," but like to be honest, it really could be, because they're saying it's a gear assisted sport akin to golf or skateboarding.
So they want to put a
Golf?
person inside of a Beyblade. Listen, these all sound
No.
like amazing ideas. I don't know. Oh, I like Oh, you're saying it's just assisted, like they're not in the Beyblade.
Yeah, like it's just the equipment. Like it's just like, oh, you
Either
grab your
way,
Beyblade, you grab your, your you grab that, and then you go grab your clubs. Like it's just like it's your tools to play this game. But like, what do you think the kind of athlete who does Beyblades, like, do they just do arms every day?
every
Do
day.
they like what do they do? Like they have to have one arm with like a massive grip, like huge forearms, like what, and like this arm, like are you working on your lats to like hold in this part
Absolutely,
and then
it's got to be both
right?
arms. It's got to be like a row, something like a row. Just like
Because
I
it's
don't know.
this, right? You're
Yeah,
you're like pulling,
yeah,
but like you're pulling and letting, actually it's more like this, you're pulling and letting go, right?
yeah. But if they're giant
And then you
size, like
punch the
I
other
don't know.
people.
I think given what I've said so far, Beyblade is more international than I realized. Genuinely, I didn't think aside like I did not realize people really like fuck with Beyblades like that, and apparently they did, and I think that's so cool. I don't think it's a crazy jump. I have no data to support this besides like my one conversation with folks in Nepal, but. I have to wonder how popular it is. I have to imagine it is. I'm for it. I think it's cool. Even like I don't know, like it sucks because they could have done this in the Tokyo Olympics and gotten away with it.
Oh, yes,
You know,
yes.
like the next Olympics is going to be in the U.S. and like we're playing baseball in the
Oh, we
Olympics. We're
are. I
playing
didn't know that.
flag football. So like I mean, obviously it's America, so we get to
Wow.
choose some of the things that are included in the Olympics. So like they definitely had a missed opportunity here in the Tokyo Olympics, but
Damn. I
I'm
wonder if they
for it.
can like pay off somebody to do this.
A lobbyist, why not?
Yeah,
I'm for
right.
it.
Well, the quote with this article was, our mission is to make sure we continue innovating for years to come. They want to make sure that people globally can have a chance to really appreciate and play with each other and have that competitive feel.
And it would be, especially if every country
Yeah.
had to build their own. Like that'd be so cool.
Could you imagine being a gold medal
Beyblader.
Olympian for Beyblades, bro?
It's interesting because like engineers would definitely get involved and like be an
Yeah.
interesting way to bridge sports and science. I'm trying to. That's
Well,
the
there would
oh
have to be so many regulations on the Beyblade, the
for sure.
material,
Yeah.
the parts, how big it can be. Like, it would be insane.
I mean, I like the idea. Are you familiar with luge? Like the ice, like the when they get in the, it's like a sleigh. Yeah, they have, no.
This?
That's something else. That's something hockey. I know what you're talking about. No, I'm talking about it's like a long sleigh and like four people get in it and they like run as a team and get in
Oh,
it and then they go down the like course. It's during the Winter Olympics, not the
yeah,
Summer Olympics.
yeah, yeah.
But like the cool thing about that is that like all four of those people have to be in such sync as they like rev up to jumping in the sleigh and going down the like course and the thing. And like I imagine that if they created like giant human life size Beyblades, that instead of it being like one person ripping the small cord, it'd be like four people running and pulling at the same time, just like a team sport. And I don't know, like it could be so interesting. I just like I don't know how you get skilled in it. I don't know if we can consider these people athletes. Like unless we make it a truly like athletic like triumph. You know what I mean? To,
Like, I do know what you mean. And at the same time, like, how is Beyblades different from being on the green next to the hole in golf?
I hear you.
Those feel like the same thing to me.
I don't know if I can do that just because I've played golf and it's such a technical sport and you
But have
know
you Beybladed to that same degree?
no I haven't maybe I haven't caught them all so I don't know what was the Beyblade motto. It wasn't catch them all, that's Pokemon. I don't know.
And
Let it rip.
now introducing new sport to the Winter Olympics. Pokemon. I didn't know what to call it.
I thought you were going to say
Ultimate
Beyblade.
gym battle.
That's hysterical. But with that, that's our episode. I've been a binge monster.
And I want you to think about it. And I'm a green queen.